When I realized what I was doing, I called my kids and I sat them down and I told them, growing up, I hated it when my dad did this. Hello there, you're welcome to Let's Talk with Chisom. Today we'll be talking about, what are we talking about today again? Hello there, you're welcome to my channel. This is Let's Talk with Chisom. We basically talk about life-related issues, contemporary issues, but we look at it from a Christian perspective. The whole essence of this channel is to inspire youth and encourage youth, one youth at a time. So remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you like this video as well. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button. Yeah. So there was this fateful day. I came back home and I was knocking at the door, right? I was expecting my kids to come and open the door. I knocked the first time, I knocked the second time, and I think I was knocking the third time, and that was when I lost it. I flared up, I was shouting, I was screaming, I was like, guys, what's keeping you? Come and open the door and all that. So eventually they came and they opened the door. I came in and I was raining thunder and brimstone, I was just shouting. At that point, I was like, okay. It was like somebody pinched me. And it's like, I got myself. And I remember, Chisom, this was the very same thing you complained about when you were a kid. This was the very same thing you hated. And you were like, when you grow up, you will not do the same thing to your child. Okay, growing up, my dad is a disciplinarian, he's like a soldier, like very, very strict disciplinarian. So if my dad knocks at the door the first time, the second time, guy, you're in trouble, you better go open that door. For him, it was like, you need to be attentive. You need to know what's going on around you, stuff like that. But as a child, I always felt, probably I was caught up doing something. You don't expect me to just sit by the door and be waiting for you, right? So I told myself, when I have my kids, I will not do exactly the same thing. But here I was doing exactly the same thing, like seriously. You know what? It wasn't just that opening door, shouting matter that I found out I was doing as a grown up. There were other things. If you found yourself in similar situation, then I have some tips to share with you, some things I know that I really did that kind of helped me, and it still does help me, dealing with situations like that. Number one is that you need to figure out those patterns. You need to point them out. You know what they say? When you discover what your problem is like you're closer to finding the solution to it, right? When you have an ailment, the first thing you do is that they tell you to run some tests, and after the test, they can now diagnose some treatment here. So you want to point out those patterns. What are those patterns? It could be behavioral patterns, it could be eating habits, it could be maybe marital issues. Probably if you come from a home where your dad used to abuse your mom, maybe physical abuse, or you grew up in a home where your mom would insult your dad, or you grew up in a place where there were moral failures and stuff like that. Finding out what these issues are is like you have cut the problem in half. You now know what your problem is, so you know how to provide a solution. So you want to point these patterns and what these issues are. You want to be able to point them out. That's number one. Number two is that you need to be deliberate about working at it. You need to be intentional about working at it. You can't just sit down and assume, okay, because I hate this thing, I will not do it. Research has actually shown that, the first 7 years of our lives, that's when our mindset is being formed subconsciously. So the things that we are exposed to at that very early stage of our life tend to model our behavior, they tend to model our character. Subconsciously, we adapt the same mindset, and when we are all grown up, we start dishing them out here and there. So we need to take deliberate and intentional steps, to correct those areas of our lives. If you need to see a psychologist, please do that. If you need to see a counselor, please do that. If you need to talk to a pastor or something, talk to somebody. Get help. Go out, get help. Be deliberate about it. Number three, be accountable to somebody, or better still, report yourself. Like in my own case, that's basically what I did. I reported myself to my kids. When I realized what I was doing, I called my kids and I sat them down and I told them, growing up, I hated it when my dad did this. When we delay in coming to open the door, right? Even though I know he did it with good intention, I know he was trying to make us alert, to be aware of our environment. But, I felt it kept us on the edge. So I told myself I wouldn't do the same thing. And here I was doing exactly the same thing. So I told them, guys, look out for this thing. if I do it again, call my attention to it. Let me know, mommy, you said you would not do this. So I more or less reported myself to them. I gave them my word, and my word is my bond. So I don't want to come off looking like, okay, mommy, you said this thing and then you're doing another thing. So I try my best to keep to the promise I made to them. So talk to somebody that you can be accountable to, somebody that will call you to order when you go out of line, somebody that will call you to order when you don't keep your end of the bargain. Number 4, you need to pray about it. Yeah, there are some patterns that are difficult to drop. Some patterns, especially when it has to do with morality and stuff like that. It's first physical and then it becomes spiritual. So when you're dealing with stuff that, you don't have the capacity to control, like you see a man beat up his wife and he's like, I really don't know why I did it. I just found myself doing it. And after he's sorry, he apologizes. Tomorrow he does it again. It's no longer a physical thing. Yes, it's psychological, but there's a spiritual aspect to it. I don't know, pardon me for spiritualizing things, but I believe there's a spiritual aspect to it. When Paul said there are things I don't want to do and I find myself doing it, the same thing applies here. But when Jesus Christ was leaving this earth, he said he would send the comforter, he would send our helper, he would send the Holy Spirit to help us through the journey of life. So when you find yourself struggling with a particular behavioral pattern, you want to pray about it. Ask the Lord to help you. Ask the Holy Spirit to help you drop those attitudes. Even as you're working at it, even as you're being intentional about it, even as you're talking to people, even as you are being held accountable to your actions, pray about it. Let the Holy Spirit help you through that journey. Remember, you were affected negatively when you were growing up by the same attitude, right? You were affected in such a way that you told yourself, I would not do the same thing to somebody. So it means that now that you're all grown up, if you're doing it, you're affecting somebody, you're affecting a friend, you're affecting a relative, you're affecting a loved one. And you know the worst part, the people that will get worse hits are the people that are really close to you. Your wife, your husband, your children, most especially, they will get worse hits. So I'm encouraging you today to take up that challenge, break that cycle, and you'll be so glad you did. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video has blessed you. I hope this video has triggered one or two things in your mind and in your thoughts right now. I beg you, as those things are being triggered, do not push it aside. Don't leave it to chance. Take up that challenge, work at it. Those attitudes, those patterns you grew up disliking, those things that you grew up saying, I don't want to be like that. Make that deliberate and intentional move to change. Share this video with a friend. Share this video with a loved one. Give us a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you once again for watching. God bless you and see you in my next video. Bye.